Donald Trump has killed the career of his Secretary of Homeland Security, and Democrats are dancing on her proverbial grave, and I have all the delightful details for you next. I'm Dan, and thanks for watching Occupy Democrats. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button to get all of our reports about Trump's House of Cards and its collapse. Democrats haven't had much to celebrate, so this moment is huge for morale and momentum. Let's jump into the party that is now happening in the party after Noem self-destructed via a Senate hearing. And on the other side, I'll have the sneaky reason she was reassigned to a made-up job and the funniest comment you'll see today about her replacement.
Has fired Kristi Noem. Good riddance. But the problems at this agency, ICE, transcend any one person. The rot is deep. The president has to end the violence and rein in ICE. They've been stonewalling us on the most important issues, and those have to change, and they have to change them. We have to change them by legislation, because any one person, I don't trust any one person being in charge of this agency as long as Trump is president, given the policies he's espoused, given how ICE has been structured. The rot is deep.
I think it's positive news that Kristi Noem is being essentially fired. She should have been fired a long time ago. It is telling, and at the same time distressing, that what seems to have gotten her fired was her PR campaign, because she acknowledged that the president was aware and supportive of this PR campaign, this $220 million boondoggle, this waste of taxpayer resources that largely promoted Kristi Noem. That was a sweetheart contract given to the husband of one of her staff, also someone who did her PR back in South Dakota. That was a horrible waste of taxpayer resources. But this was what ended up reportedly getting her fired when her leadership at the agency resulted in Americans getting killed in Minneapolis and elsewhere, and the kind of chaos we've seen throughout the country says a lot about the priorities and the concerns of this administration. But look, I'm glad she's going, and soon, I hope, gone.
I just heard the breaking news about Kristi Noem. I called in hearing this week that she should either step down, she should be fired, or she should be impeached by Congress. So she is gone. She should be held to account for the corruption that she has shown with the contracting and the way they do business. She should be held to account for the violation of court orders. She should be held account, frankly, for the violating the constitutional rights of Americans. But this changes nothing. We are in a shutdown right now because we have a rogue and reckless organization that is breaking into Americans' homes, jumping out of unmarked cars, masked, literally slamming Americans to the pavement, or worse, as we've seen in 2 cases, murdering people. We are seeing in Republican-run towns and Democratic-run towns that they don't want them there, that they're making us all less safe, that they said they were going to go after the worst of the worst, but they're detaining American citizens, over 20 American children. They're ripping people away from, parents away from their American kids. This is not who we are. This agency's out of control. I am so happy that one of the worst administrative leaders I've ever seen is gone, but the agency itself is still reckless and out of control. We should not be funding it until these issues are addressed. But we have an agency that is out of control, and what they're doing in our communities, what they are doing to the Constitution, their reckless, continuous violation of court orders, even Republican-appointed judges, they are routinely violating those court orders. That makes this whole agency, to me, morally bankrupt.
First, let me congratulate former Homeland Security Secretary on her appointment to be the shield of the Americas, which I'm pretty sure the president came up with when he watched the last Avengers movie. So, we'll find out what that entails. But look, she will go down as the worst Secretary of Homeland Security since the creation of it after 9/11. I mean, she literally took the president's core issue on immigration, which he was polling at 60% in September, and got that down to 39%. She exceeded all expectations on doing that by, having 2 Americans shot, one in the face and one in the back under her leadership. They had to bring in Tom Homan and leave Minnesota as a result of her actions.
Kristi Noem, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Here's your legacy: corruption and chaos, parents and children tear-gassed, moms and nurses, U.S. citizens getting shot in the face. Now that you're gone, don't think you get to just walk away. I guarantee you, you will still be held accountable.
So what's next for Noem? she was reassigned to a job with the dubious title of Special Envoy for the Shield of Americas. That's so Trump can silence her until the end of his term. As a civilian, she would represent loose lips that could sink his ship. And here's the funniest comment I promised you about her replacement. The man with two first names, Mark Wayne Mullen, who is known for being easily triggered, was described this way by retired Air Force Colonel Mo Davis. Firing Kristi Noem and replacing her with Mark Wayne Mullins is like in your pants and running home to change your shirt.